have control our own courts. Because at the end of the day, the courts work with the police, they work with the prisons to keep things the same, you know, to make sure that African people stay in poverty while all of our money is going to feed the white community, going to feed these banks and whatnot.
Because it's making in $7 million a year. Exactly. That's got to be feeding a whole lot of people.
So we got to get organized, you know what I mean? We got to get organized.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, but the thing is, we were saying it's not just about, you know, killing the insects or getting the plumbing right or changing any particular condition in the houses, you know what I mean? It's about helping African people understand that we colonized. The reason why we don't got no heat and all that is because we don't got no power. If you had power, then you wouldn't be getting ripped off. All your money and your resources would stay in your hands. But because we don't got no power, not only did they take all of our wealth, our gold, our diamonds, all that, not only did they take all that, but we can't even really dictate whether or not we're going to make it home tonight. The police could stop us, throw us up on the wall, just being black while walking down the street. That happened to me just a couple weeks ago. And with a situation like that, that means that you don't got no power. That's what that means. If you had power, then the police wouldn't be able to do that straight up because they know if they try to touch you, there's going to be consequences. Like what happened in Syria. The U.S. was talking about invading Syria, right? But then, like, you know, Hezbollah, which is like a militant Muslim organization in Lebanon, Hamas, which is the equivalent in Palestine, in Iran, you know, forces all over the Middle East stood up and they said, if the U.S. try to ride on Syria, it's going to be some shit. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about, like, Hezbollah, they got huge organization, like they got hundreds of thousands of members in their organization. They like the Arab Black Panthers and shit like that. But we got to build that type of organization right here where we all, you know, be chilling and whatnot, but what we got to be doing is getting organized. You know what I'm saying? Because the situation going on in Syria, what they're trying to do to Syria, that's what's happening right here. We talk about occupation. It's not just the U.S. Marines in Afghanistan. It's the police in Marshal Garden. You know what I mean? It's the police throughout the African communities all over this country. That's the same thing. It's a military occupation. And I don't care if it's a black police chief. I don't care if it's a black cop. I don't care if the black mayor. I don't care if the goddamn president is black. Ain't nothing going to change the role that the police play in the black community. That's just going to be the same. So we talking about black power. We talking about black people starting to get organized to push the police out of the community, to hold on to our resources and whatnot, and we do that in connection with struggles going on in Africa. I just came from Sierra Leone, where we got an organization in Sierra Leone. Where all the diamonds come from, we got an organization right there. We got it all throughout Europe, and we got it right here. So we're talking about building a worldwide organization where if they try to fuck with you on the south side of Chicago, then we're going to rise up on the north side of London. You know what I mean? We say touch one, touch all. That's how we break it down. So we're talking about building that type of organization. So when we start to, you know, get rid of the insects and we start to get the leaky faucet fixed and all that, it's not just about fixing those problems. We fix those problems to show you that the revolution is the solution because it's been 20 years since they made any repairs in the buildings. But all we had to do is a revolutionary organization. We come through and we demand that these repairs be made, the conditions improved, and all of a sudden it happens because we organize. So we got to be like that on a regular basis all the time, you know? So, and that's what we got, you know, to lead. You know what I mean? Like, if this is all we do right here, you would be doing some shit. If you just focus, like, organize right here in Marshall Gardens, make that the center of your activity, know everybody in this community. So they know you. They be like Uhuru Covell, you know, Uhuru will. That's the type of relationship that we got to build. We got to build for what we call liberated territory, where you know, eventually, if we do our work correctly, then the people are going to be organized in a militant fashion. They're going to be carrying out what we talk about, you know what I mean? So, and then we can move on to the next spot, into the next spot. But we got to really lock down territories. Just like the Cubans in the Cuban Revolution, they started what they call Sierra Maestra, which was like the tip of the island. And then they took over that part. They locked that down. They pushed out the Batista's troops, and then they moved to the next spot. So that's how we got to do it throughout these communities. We lock down one territory, then we move on to the next one. But we don't leave the first territory before we build an organization. You build an organization first. That's how you determine whether or not you actually locked it down. If you ain't built no organization, then you can't leave. You got to stay until you build, then you move to the next spot. And the same thing, you know what I'm saying? And we just keep passing it on. Before you know it, we don't spread all over the world. Because Africans going through this bullshit everywhere. And they want you to think you just the African American. They don't want you to know that it don't make no sense to be living in poverty in Chicago when we come from the richest place on the planet. The gold, the diamonds, the oil, you know what I'm saying? That cell phone my man got right there, it contains a mineral called coltan. All the world's coltan comes from Africa. So it wouldn't be no iPhone, no Razor, no what do they got? Galaxy, no cheap ass Metro PCS, none of that would exist if it wasn't for Africa. And that's just one example. It's too much that they take it from us. It don't make no sense for us to be living the way we do when we come from the richest place on the planet Earth. So we say one Africa, one nation. We talking about building an organization where we unite in this type of spirit of struggle, you know?
Oh.
I'll see you next time.